All right. Well, welcome everyone. This is Solana Smoke. Today we are Thursday, 26th of March. And today we have the pleasure of having Ross with us. So how are you, Ross?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Looking forward to getting stuck into the ecosystem again.
Yes. Lots happened. So we'll go through a couple of news actually to start the show. Something that actually just kind of came up. And then we'll watch a short video. So last week we talked about, this 50 million to 36,000 kind of order that went through on Ethereum. So the whole really kind of, I wouldn't call it a mistake, but I mean the protocol worked as it should have been. But the MEV, so these robots that are always looking what's happening on the chain, kind of took advantage of the situation and basically left with over 30 million of the transaction value, and then everything between the builders and the validators got their cut, and so the user actually ended up with 36K from 50 million in 14 seconds. So I don't know if it's actually something that got into the ears of Solana, but now there's this new proposal that came out yesterday where they want to actually improve the MEV and what they call enforce fair transaction ordering. So clearly, like the way the MEV works, and in order for them to make money on Ethereum, they are allowed to kind of decide what transaction goes first in the block. So this allows them basically to first increase the price of the asset, then put the transaction of the user in the middle, and then basically get the difference all within the same block. And so I think that's what Solana here is trying to do with this Constellation proposal is really trying to remove these kind of impact on user and try to be as fair as possible. I mean, we already saw last week on the call that Solana works differently because everything is in parallel, whereas in Ethereum is sequential. So it's already much harder on Solana to do. But yeah, I thought that was interesting to raise. And again, we're always seeing that the speed of Solana is always something very, very important. So yeah, I don't know if you have anything curious to say about this, Ross, or we just move on. I mean, it's a bit technical and it's not very interesting for most, but I thought it was just on time with last week kind of video.
Yeah, no, let's carry on. Definitely want to dive into this more. It's interesting to sort of compare it to what the other chains are doing, isn't it? How they structure things. So yeah, let's go for it.
Yes, 100%. The second one I think is gonna be kind of slightly more interesting for you, Ross. So is this new proposal on privacy on Solana? So it's actually just came out from the foundation. We won't go through the whole report. I'm sure journalists do a way better analysis than us. But it's really I think it's pushing us to show that we want institution on chain, and what do institution want? It's some sort of privacy, and of course by having a fully transparent order book and fully transparent transactions is just not going to cut it for enterprise applications. And I think this really sums it up very, very nicely. For enterprises, privacy is a spectrum, not a switch. So it's really a use case by use case. Decision
is a spectrum, not a switch.
Yeah.
What do you think they mean by that?
I think what they mean is that between A being fully transparent and Z, if you're thinking ZK, kind of Zcash, you have no clue what's happening, and it's all going through systems where it's hiding everything. You want to be able to kind of decide, okay, do you want to be maybe just putting some transparency on who the users are, or just some transparency on the amount, or maybe you're giving the transparency at a later stage. I think this is what they're trying to mean.
Yeah, sort of saying privacy is a complex decision. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're gunning for the institutional money, aren't they? And not just any institution, but financial services institutions, right? And privacy is just not optional. So that's obviously why Solana is trying to upgrade, because there are other chains out there that have got privacy built in. So
they do have it in, and like you said, Solana, we've seen it through the last conferences. They really want to be, that kind of this financial space, the Internet of Finance, and so I think this kind of graph really tells you more. What's the spectrum? Is it the identity that is visible, or is it hidden, or the same with the data? And so by having this, kind of these 4 layers, this is where you're kind of having the, the nuance and the choice, and like they say here, the trade-off. So at least, the researchers are going into the right direction, and they're really listening to the market, I would say. And I think that's the most important. They see what their users are, they see what they want, and they're just building towards that.
Yeah.
So now for the video of the day, we'll be jumping on with our friends at Solana Floor, and we'll have a short video about, its name, 650 billion in 1 month, why the giants are moving to Solana. So it's really, I think it was published like a couple of days ago. So I think it'll be fun to watch.
Promise. Bitcoin's white paper literally says peer-to-peer electronic cash in the title. That was 2009. And for 15 years, we waited. Lightning Network, El Salvador, payment channels. And for 15 years, it didn't really work. Not at scale. Not in a way that your parents could use. Then stablecoins happened and everything changed. Visa, Mastercard, Stripe, PayPal, Western Union, Cash App. In the last 12 months, every single one of them either built on, acquired for, or integrated with stablecoin payments infrastructure. And there's one chain sitting underneath most of it. Let's talk about why Solana is currently winning.
Ross, is it me, or is he speaking extremely fast today?
He's speaking extremely fast. A lot to get in.
I won't lie to you. It's at 1x. I'll put it at 0.9, because otherwise I know that the viewers are going to be watching our video at another 1.5, and the guy will just be blasting through the talk. So
it's funny. I was listening to a Catherine Austin Fitz video yesterday where they were talking about Epstein, how he hijacked Bitcoin.
And so what was it about?
Well, they're saying that Bitcoin was actually meant to be in a payment, not just to store value, but a payment tool. And effectively, Epstein with his network, funding things through MIT, funding a lot of the Bitcoin developers, effectively kind of hijacked Bitcoin. So, yeah.
Interesting. I mean, like he just mentioned, at the beginning, the idea was really peer-to-peer. How do we transact? How do we, go away from the banking system? And I don't think it was ever from the get-go the idea of being this, digital gold. Far from it. So
yeah, they were sort of saying that Epstein was funding all the people working on it, and probably saying, and then grabbed it to use it as a test case for introducing digital money, basically introducing programmable money. And obviously we know the Epstein class would very much like to have programmable money and control us all, right? So yeah, effectively Bitcoin got hijacked by the people that want to control us.
and they're doing a pretty good job, I would say.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice that I just stopped right now on this graph, because otherwise you would have just gone through it. So what do we see here is really, again, Solana being this month, I think 36% market share. So the biggest chain using a stablecoin. So I think that's very, very cool to see. Clearly there was this big, what was it? Yeah, February was the biggest. Now it's kind of going down, but we can see the trend of Solana taking more, and Tron, on the contrary, kind of reducing. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Payments. Let's start with the numbers because they're staggering. Solana processed $650 billion in stablecoin volume in February alone, double the previous all-time record, not annualized 1 month. Now here's what makes that number even more impressive. Solana holds about 5% of total stablecoin supply, roughly $16 billion out of a $300 billion market. Ethereum has 51%, Tron has 25%, but Solana just moved $650 billion in a single month on $16 billion in supply.
That's insane, huh? When you think about it. It's not being issued so much on Solana, but it's just being transacted a lot. And I think, and for me as a user experience, is really the speed of it. You just open Fathom, you click accept, and the transaction is done. Whereas on the other, it's like, let's wait for the validators and whatever. So again, kudos to the guys.
40x velocity. Every dollar of stablecoins on Solana is being used over and over and over again. On Ethereum, the stablecoins sit. On Solana, they move. That's the difference between a vault and an economy. And this is why the growth story is so compelling. Citigroup projects the stablecoin market hitting $1.9 trillion by 2030, with their bull case being $4 trillion. Standard Chartered says $2 trillion by 2028. If Solana's share even doubles from 5% to 10% in a market that's going from 300 billion to trillions, that's not 16 billion in supply anymore. That's hundreds of billions. And at Solana's velocity, with every dollar that gets put to work, it's the same story across all of Solana DeFi. TVL in dollar terms fluctuates with price, but measured in SOL, TVL just hit an all-time high with over 80 million SOL locked. The capital isn't leaving, it's compounding. Lower TVL, higher velocity. That's not a weakness. That's a blockchain actually being used. Now, USDC just...
I think what he's saying here is very true. And we've seen it throughout the different videos where you see that a lot of users actually want to stay in Solana. They're not only using it, but they're staking it. And so overall, if the market keeps on growing, again, I think very, very interesting. Now just seeing Circle here. Did you see the stock price? Was it yesterday or the day before of Circle?
No.
Went down 25% because of because of the Clarity, the Clarity Act, the latest one where they're basically, I don't know if it's out yet. I haven't properly read it, but they're saying that you can't. Like, you remember the whole problem was the yield.
Exactly.
Can you make yield on your account? And so basically, so far the vibe is going towards you can't make yield on just your money sitting, and it's the whole Circle kind of business. So you could only make a yield if the basically if your wallet is being used. So if the money is actually doing something, transacting, but not just sitting. So Circle was really hurt a couple of days ago.
I was at a breakfast event with a lot of very high up Swiss German crypto people, and they thought there was a 60% chance of the Clarity Act passing.
Okay.
As it stands, but as you said, the argument's all around yield.
I mean, is the whole kind of the ultimate difference between crypto and bank. It's like if you're able to make 5% on your money in a crypto wallet versus 0.25 in your bank account, it's kind of a no-brainer. So the banks are really doing their best for it not to take place.
Overtook USDT in transfer volume for the first time in 7 years, and the majority of that USDC volume is flowing through Solana. Circle has minted $28.5 billion in USDC on Solana. The global stablecoin market just crossed $300 billion in total market cap, and the projection is over $1 trillion by the end of this year. And here's the part that should make you pay attention. This isn't crypto people sending money to crypto people. This is real commerce, real settlement. Real businesses choose stablecoins over traditional rails because it's faster, cheaper, and it actually works. These billion-dollar acquisitions alone tell the story. Stripe spent $1.1 billion acquiring Bridge, a stablecoin infrastructure company, the largest acquisition in crypto history at the time. Then, just last week, Mastercard agreed to acquire Bank, BVNK, for up to $1.8 billion, a UK-based company connecting on-chain payments with traditional fiat rails. That's the largest stablecoin acquisition ever. Two of the biggest payment companies on Earth just spent nearly $3 billion combined to get into stablecoin infrastructure.
That's very, very interesting, because you're really seeing the transition from, the trust guys, like they call us, the banking, and they really want to get their hands on crypto project as early as they can.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Stripe is more kind of both Stripe and actually Mastercard are really payment providers. So I think it just resonates extremely well with what Thomas is saying here, where people are using Solana to transact, and people will move at some point, if not fully, at least partially, into stablecoins. So get them while they're cheap.
Yeah, and all the emerging market guys, because their own currencies are very volatile and they get ripped off by their own banks, or they don't trust the Western banks. They all want to use stablecoins now.
Of course, you want to be your own bank. You want to not have any restrictions. You want to be, like you say, maybe dealing in USDC, which is kind of US dominated, and I think oftentimes as well the impact is because these transactions tend to be lower as well in value. Where if you're just paying with a credit card or through a bank, the fees, Western Union, God forbid, like the fees are crazy. Whereas if you're going to lower transaction, everyone is happy to just pay half a cent for.
Yeah, I was on that call this morning. So a bank might charge 1%, right, where an OTC desk is 0.03%. So there you go, right? Yeah.
Here you have a 30x factor. So even if it's a small transaction, the decision is really easy to take. Everyone's going to go for the small one.
They're not experimenting, they're buying their way in. And then look at who's integrating directly with Solana. Visa published a deep dive on Solana specifically for settlement infrastructure. They're enabling USDC treasury settlement for partner banks with billions in annualized volume. PayPal made Solana the primary rail for PYUSD and just expanded to 70 countries. Western Union is launching USDPT, their own stablecoin on Solana, connecting to 360,000 cash payout locations worldwide. And my personal favorite redemption arc, Jack Dorsey called Solana SQLana, made fun of it publicly, and now his Cash App is building USDC payments on Solana for his 57 million monthly users. Shopify merchants are accepting USDC through Solana Pay with zero card processing fees. This isn't a...
just the Shopify example, it's prime. You have a zero card processing fee. This is what actually kills a lot of small businesses, especially on selling online or whatever. If you're always paying, 2.5% plus 30 cents on every single transaction versus paying nothing, it's really a no-brainer. So it's good that the crypto is really taking all these use cases and quickly adapting to whatever the market wants and really pushing it forward. So very, very interesting.
Pilot program. This is production infrastructure at scale. And underneath all the big names, there's an entire payment stack being built natively on Solana. Look at all these launches by absolutely gigantic names. Sphere, backed by Coinbase Ventures and Kraken Ventures, is building cross-border stablecoin payments, basically Stripe.
You remember Sphere? We'll be looking at it at some point. It's very interesting because they're basically allowing your business to accept any type, would it be crypto or fiat, and then easily pay your staff, your suppliers, again, in fiat or crypto. So they're kind of really the middleman between the crypto wallets, the banks, and they're really allowing you to basically trade in whatever you're doing. So a lot of crypto companies love using their product. And it's funny that if you look who's investing in that.
Yeah.
Coinbase, Kraken. So
yeah,
very cool.
For crypto, Altitude, launched by the Squads team, is a full corporate treasury platform with stablecoin accounts with up to 5% APY, backed by BlackRock Treasury's multi-sig security ACH Fedwire SEPA, and on-chain transfers.
Well, that was a mouthful, no?
Mm.
Even him
You said it first time.
Yeah. He was reading it. He was like, "Are those letters in the right order or no?" That's the whole question.
Mhm.
But again, you know, they're getting 5% on their money. So who would want that as a treasury?
Zero platform fees. That's a real business banking product. The Solana Foundation launched payments.org, a dedicated hub with live payment simulators, developer docs, and case studies from Visa, PayPal, and Stripe running production workflows on Solana. And Payments Journal, one of the biggest publications in the traditional payments industry, wrote that Solana is primed to be the blockchain of choice for financial institutions. That's coming from the payments industry itself, not some crypto publication. And here's what's about to pour fuel on all of this. The regulation is coming. And for once, it's actually good. The Genius Act was signed into law in 2025, the first federal regulatory framework for stablecoins in US history. The OCC is now writing the implementation rules, reserve requirements, licensing, redemption standards. It takes full effect January 2027. The Clarity Act passed the House at 294 versus 134 and is working through the Senate right now. For the first time ever, there's a clear legal path for stablecoin payments at scale. Stan Druckenmiller said it best in a Morgan Stanley interview just last week. "I assume our whole payment system will be stablecoins in 10 or 15 years. That's one of the greatest investors alive saying that stablecoins are the future of money, not crypto Twitter, Stanley Druckenmiller. And the infrastructure is following. Palmer Luckey's Erebor Bank, backed by Peter Thiel, just raised $350 million at a $4.35 billion valuation and received OCC approval for a national bank charter, a crypto native bank from the ground up. The old system and the new system are merging, and stablecoins are the bridge." Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Everything we just talked about is humans paying humans. But the next wave might just be machines paying machines. And this has huge implications for all of us. Coinbase built X402, an internet native payment protocol based on HTTP status code 402. It lets AI agents pay for things autonomously. No human in the loop, no credit card, just a stablecoin transaction over HTTP.
So have you heard of this, Ross?
No.
It's really interesting because what's going to happen, it's now everyone, of course, is using, you know, AI and building their own agent. So they have kind of their team working 24/7. And so now that you have these agents, so these kind of programs that are out there in the web doing their stuff, whenever they reach a problem, they basically now have a crypto wallet. And let's say, I don't know, they need to pay for something online. Instead of waiting for the human to put their credit card, they basically just use their crypto wallet, pay a couple of cents, let's say, to access an API or something to get the information they want and go on with their day. So again, you're removing the human from the loop, so everything goes much quicker, and you're allowing all these microtransactions to take place autonomously. So this is really what the X402 is unlocking. So, and Solana is really you know, on top of this protocol and making sure they're capturing as much as they can from agents. So very interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
Cloudflare integrated it. Over 50 million transactions already processed, and it works on Solana, capturing the OpenClaw narrative and opening it up to an agentic commerce future. Think about what that means. AI agents that can pay for API calls, buy data, purchase compute, settle transactions between each other, and all of that in real time, and all for fractions of a penny. Solana already handles somewhere around 77.
But I think what you're going to end up having is, you know, companies or individuals building these agents that are going to be, you know, tailored to their needs, but as well to their skills. And then you're going to have basically agents hiring other agents to do the bits where they're, you know, not comfortable in. So we're taking the old model of just hiring freelancers to, you know, help with our work, but now it's just a computer hiring another computer and paying them on crypto. So very futuristic, I would say. Like I wouldn't have imagined 2 years ago that this, you know, would be the case. in such a scenario. So
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
percent of agent-to-agent payment volume, 35 million agent transactions since last summer. And the reason is obvious: sub-second finality and sub-cent fees. When a machine needs to make 1,000 payments in a minute, it's not going to wait 12 seconds and pay $5 in gas. It's going to use the fastest, cheapest rail possible, and that's Solana. Solana's agentic payments documentation is already live. The SDK is ready. Whichever chain becomes the standard for agent-to-agent transactions could define the next era of digital commerce. And right now, Solana is winning that race before most people even know that it's happening. Crypto promised to fix payments in 2009. It took 15 years, a stablecoin revolution, and a blockchain fast enough to actually handle it. But guess what? It's here now. $650 billion in a single month. Visa, Mastercard, Stripe, PayPal, Western Union, and Cash App are all building on or acquiring into the same infrastructure, a regulatory framework that's finally real, and an AI agent economy that's already choosing Solana as its payment rail. Stablecoins are the killer app of crypto, and Solana is the chain they run on. The original Bitcoin promise, fast, cheap, global payments, is finally being delivered, just not the way that anybody expected.
all right, well, it was a cool one to watch. Clearly a lot of topics were uncovered, and a lot of data that I had no clue, a lot of big players. So yeah, I don't know, do you have any closing remarks on everything we've watched today? Anything that you think would be kind of happening in the next couple of weeks or even months?
I sort of felt a little bit like he's he's very much promoting Solana, very, very one-sided, that everything's happening here. So yeah, I'd be interested to watch some of the other chains. We obviously we know Canton's doing a lot more on this. There are other chains like like Ripple and all that were meant to be payment and financial institution chains. So let's see if his confidence is as warranted as it appears to be. Right, a lot of the big institutions I know, I've never heard them wanting to use Solana. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, headline
could be using it. Yeah. Even though I think they probably should. I haven't seen any big institutions talking about Solana. So anyway, so maybe just give a little balance to his one-sided commentary there.
I mean, let's remember they're called Solana Floor, so there's not much more biased than that. But on the other side, we're called Solana Smoke, so I guess.
Yeah, for Solana.
We're in it for Solana, but yeah, a lot of chains. I think it's healthy, as well, to have this competition between chains, and ultimately we see as well that a lot of the protocols end up being multi-chain anyway. So I guess it's just helping researchers thinking in differently and just trying to basically solve solutions. Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Ross. That was a very interesting Solana Smoke, and thanks everyone. We'll see you next week. All right. Bye-bye.